Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Real Talk with Rick. So my guest this episode is one of our utility supervisors, John Carlon. And John talks quite a bit about a subject that may not seem very interesting, utilities, water pipes, sewer pipes, storm sewer pipes, storm sewer ponds, kind of the infrastructure that is beneath the roads that we drive on and in many of the nooks and crannies of the city. John has managed with excellent team at Eden Prairie in our utilities division that infrastructure in the city for a number of years. So you're going to hear some interesting behind-the-scenes stories related to the city's utilities, along with John first coming to the city way back in 1983 when he had to maneuver through, I think it's something like 450 applicants to get a job here in Eden Prairie, a job he has held proudly ever since that period of time. So here is my conversation with Eden Prairie Utility Supervisor John Carlon. So John Carlon, Eden Prairie Utility Supervisor, it's great to have you here.
Thank you, man. Good to be here.
Yeah. So utility supervisor, that could mean so many different things. You are in the city's public works department. You work out of the city's water treatment plant as our utility supervisor. What does that entail? What do you do?
Wow. We take care of the sanitary sewer, the storm sewer. Whenever it rains, it goes down the catch basins. Make sure it goes down there. We take care of every time you turn your water on at the faucet and make sure that you have water. Time you take a shower and make sure that water goes away. We have like 15 full-time guys, and in the summertime it swells at 28. So we hire like a dozen or 10 or 12 college kids, we call them seasonals, that assist us with our work. So if we wouldn't have those guys, we'd never accomplish what we do.
Sure.
So it's kind of fun with those guys because they're kind of young, and my old jokes work on them, and we can pick on them a little bit. So the college kids make it kind of fun and lively for the summer for us. It's kind of like, woohoo, something new. So,
Well, a lot of work outside in the summertime.
A lot of work outside in the summertime. We have a lot of crews repairing catch basins before they put a brand new street in, an overlay. We go and repair all the catch basins and the manholes, all the things when you drive down the road you don't think of, but you're driving over, like these manhole covers. Well, there's utilities down below buried. Catch basins on the side of the road, there's pipes down below there buried. We have probably 300 miles of water main and about 260 miles of storm sewer pipe. And we have 17,000 connections to houses, so we have water meters that go with that, so we read meters. I have two guys full-time, Andrew and Kevin, read meters and repair meters. So it's very, very busy in the summer. The summer is pretty hectic around here for us.
Oh, yeah, you guys are busy. Hey, before I forget, you're talking about the water meters, too, because I remember, you're older, a little bit older than me, but I remember, there was a time when water meter reading would be you had to call in your own reading. And then, I don't know about Eden Prairie, but back in the day. And then there was, people would have to come and actually physically go to the meter from the city and take the reading. And then now we're able, as long as we just come by the property, we can pick up the reading, right?
I remember the early days, we have to walk with a clipboard with like a piece of paper and a pencil. We have to walk to the house, look at the outside reader, and write it down.
Yep.
And it wasn't too bad in the summertime, but you got the wintertime, you got like 3 feet of snow. You're trying to climb over snowbanks and go through stuff, and it was a bear. And then we used to write it down. And then after that, they got like a touchpad, it was called.
Yeah.
You'd walk up like a little mini computer, and you'd touchpad it. We thought that was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, now we just drive by, and Kevin and Andrew can drive and just collect the readings as they drive by.
Just driving down the street.
Yeah, it's so nice.
And we'll get to a day, you think, where they don't even need to drive, right?
Yeah, we're kind of going towards every city's doing a little bit different. We're kind of figure out what's the best. We're kind of waiting for technology to kind of see what cities are doing, what would work the best. But it may just come like over your phone lines or cell towers. That's how I think Minigasco does it now.
Yeah. No, we could probably do a whole podcast, have them in here when it comes to meter reading. But I just thought of that when you mentioned that. But you're right. Everything, the utilities, public utilities, your water, your sewer, your sanitary sewer, your storm sewer. When did you start here? Like you talked about, this is kind of the present day scenario of the amount of employees and the miles that we have. But when did you start?
I started roughly about 1983.
Okay.
I was working in Hopkins called Rudamatic, and 3 of the guys before me had got jobs with the city. So they're saying, John, you got to come over to the city. It's a pretty nice place to work. So 450 people applied. So those 3 guys kind of helped guide me through the 450 people to get hired over here.
450 people were up for the one job that you applied for in 1983.
Yeah, I think the economy wasn't that great.
Wow.
In the 80s there.
Wow. How many people were working here in that area when you were hired? Do you remember?
When I got hired, I was the third one. It was Big
person.
Don and Jim Simchuk. So I was the third guy hired on for we call it the sewer department back then.
Okay.
We did collection, like sanitary sewer, and we did stormwater. That's all we did.
And then you had worked for the city of Hopkins.
No, I worked
for that private company.
Yeah, private company out of Hopkins.
Rudamatic.
You probably remember them when you were there.
I think so. Yeah, but like just what I think that they clean
drains.
Drains.
We clean drains for plumbers and kitchen sinks, bathtubs. Things
no,
like
I had a friend that worked in that business, and he said, Rick, I'm a surgeon. I'm like, what do you mean you're a surgeon? He's like, I'm a drain surgeon. Oh, that's what I do. That's my job. I'm a drain surgeon. So you came here then in '83 and one of 3 employees, 450 people interviewing. What was it like what was it like working, in the 80s? Obviously, I've had a few people, on here that remember the fast-growing community that we were in the 80s and 90s. But I'd like to get it from your perspective, from the utility point of view.
We kind of were housed out of the public works with the street guys in the fleets. And so we kind of like we were talking, everybody kind of did everything. It's like they had us, throwing blacktop, plowing roads, jetting sewers, some storm sewer work from time to time. And it was kind of funny, I think, that one time I told you that we had the mayor, Mr. Redpath. It was early in my career, and he used to smoke these big cigars all the time. And he'd pick us up once in a while and say, John, come on, we got these mattresses. We got to bring the Hopkins, the women's shelter. I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing that today because he's the mayor.
All duties as assigned.
Yeah. And I guess it's a good thing. We're helping people out, So it was
charity
kind of fun
runs.
Stuff.
So when you're not working on the streets, you're doing charity runs.
Yeah, from time to time.
Well, tell our current mayor if we need someone to run any beds over from prop or anything.
We can help him with that. Yeah, I've experienced that.
You've done that before.
Yeah.
So what about the work crew now and the group that you're dealing with? What was this past summer like? What was a lot of the work that was done on a daily basis? What were some of the things that you were working on? What were some of the challenges this past summer?
This summer we had a lot of rain, like everybody knows. So we had a lot of storm sewer breaks, repairs, flooding. So it kind of consumed us off my normal schedule, which we wanted to do. We kind of had I call it playing the chess game. Also, we're not doing this now, we're doing that. So the seasonals, we couldn't, the street guys were pretty backed up with curb this year. So we usually turn gate valves, which are valves that isolate the water main. So if you have a water main break, we turn these 2 valves off, isolate it, we can make a repair. But sometimes we isolate the valves to fix the bad one that's bad. The isolated valves start leaking. Oh. So it creates like a domino if you have more valves going bad. And so we had to not do that this year because street guys are so far behind. They come in and blacktop and curb. They said, we're behind. Don't create any more leaks.
Yeah.
So we concentrated on some other things. We had seasonals. I hired the first woman this year on our crew. And I was like, okay, see how this goes. And she worked really well. I was very surprised. I knew where she was from, a good family. And she kind of outworked some of the boys, I thought.
Okay.
And
not surprised.
She was Anna. She was awesome. So I put her in charge of called curb stops. It's like your valve to your house, like your 1-inch service valve. It's usually in your front yard, about 10 feet up, like a little cap. So they've been going out. It's a 6-year program. They locate it, find it, make sure it works, and then Paul from engineering comes and GPSs it on our map. So if we have an issue like a fire and your house burns down, my guys come out in the middle of the winter, they can look on our map and see where that is to turn the water off to the house.
And we have all of the city utilities well mapped in our geographical information system, but also it's important to know where all the connections are.
Correct. Yep. It's gonna. I always tell my guys, what do you want to be able to find at midnight? It's snowing out or raining.
Yeah.
You need to find something, and these are the things we kind of maintain and try to find.
Sure. Yeah, because you'd never have like a water main break or a leak at night. It only happens like when everyone's working in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it happens when it's sunny and 85
degrees outside. Right.
Never.
Other than that's not a big deal.
No.
So, and then you think about the city then kind of growing through the years, that you feel we've been able to kind of keep up with cataloging and keeping track of all this? Because there's still, hundreds of, I don't know if it's hundreds, but hundreds of homes, I guess, in the last 4 or 5 years, and new development that's occurring. And now we're getting, multifamily apartment buildings. And I get the question now and then, 4, 5, 6 new 7-story apartment buildings are being built in Eden Prairie. Can our water system and sewer system handle that?
Yes, it does. We work with engineering, and my boss, Rick, we have a model put together through an engineering company, and they run this model that tells you if we can supply water or sewer to these new developments. So before they even go in, that's all checked out through engineering and through our modeling system, if we can handle it or not. And if we can't, then we have to get some different ideas to bring some more water in or bigger sewer lines. So
yeah, and I know Rick is our overall utilities manager, and then Joe runs the plant, so he deals with the treatment of our water, and then you're kind of Joe's peer on the utilities. We like to call it outside utilities side,
outside utilities,
the sewer and the water, and running around town and making sure that everything's in shape.
Going good. Yeah, we flush over 4,000 hydrants in the spring. That's guys out there 10-hour days for 2.5 weeks, and it's grueling. You're operating them by hand, and it's. We make sure they work right. We lube them up, and if they don't work, we put a tag on, and we come back for the next week or two and fix them all. So, yeah, it's good to make sure they all work.
So, how many hydrants did you say?
You have about 4,300 roughly.
Wow.
Yeah. We paint about a third of them every year, so if the ones are looking good. Ed Sorensen, my old boss, he said, John, the only thing they see that we have are fire hydrants. Yeah. Everything else is buried.
Yeah.
So if the fire hydrants look good, they think the water's good, everything's good. So I kind of like that idea.
No, that's a good point, because a lot of time, I get a lot of that with those utility boxes we see when they get, and they're not ours, whether it's the XL Energy or CenterPoint or the cable company, when they're rusted or vandalized. We get calls at the city all the time. You probably get them too. What are you going to do about the utility box? And we're usually calling somebody else, but
they think they're ours.
It's an aesthetic you see in the community, so it's good to know that you guys are keeping up with the hydrants. What if you paint them a different color? What if you just go out there and paint them all green and gold?
Green and gold? I think I'd be run out of town.
Oh, would you? Okay.
Maybe purple, then I'd keep me around.
No.
One thing funny about, you talk about what we do is some funny stories. Andrew and me have been here for a long time, and way back when we first started, I went out and flushed a bunch of fire hydrants. And they told me in January, just go over and flush those fire hydrants in that road over there, So we flushed them over there one day, and the next day, and we came back, and so we're all done now. They go, well, Rich flushed those last week. And I'm like, well, this is kind of dumb. Don't you guys have maps? So that started the process of us. We call them program books.
Okay.
So Andrew and me made maps. Let's make a book for flushing so everybody can just flush one time. It's so smart. And back in the 80s, nobody had this. No one had computers. No one had...
It's all by hand.
It was very small. So Andrew and me sit under the stairs, and we'd cut pieces of map out and hand draw in the sumps or hydrants, and was just very crude. And over the years, we've got now 16 program books. Everything from every maintenance thing we do, we have a program book.
Okay. And
over the years, I've had different people on these. And Jeff Campbell now is a guy, and he works with Paul. We got beautiful maps, beautiful everything we're seeing. And I think back in the old days, our hand scribbled chicken scratching on there to where we are today. It makes me feel really good as part of that.
No, that's neat, because I remembered from cities I've worked in too. When you get in the different utility trucks, they've got just books upon books upon books laid out of the city, which we still have, but now are they able to access some of this on an iPad?
Yes.
Okay.
We have iPads in the truck now. It's phenomenal. You just pull it up. They can zoom right in. You can see everything. And we even got some iPads for the seasonals last year for going out doing the maintenance programs, because they couldn't find say, a manhole or curb stop that was off the map, and they could zoom right in and go, oh, it's by that tree in that guy's front yard.
Yeah.
Where before, it would just look like a dot on a map, and you couldn't see it very well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now, some of the kind of everyday experiences that people might have, maybe you could help us through. So I'm in my house and my toilet starts backing up, or my drain is backing up in the basement, and I call you. Do you get those calls, and how does that usually go, John? Tell me about that.
We get quite a few of those calls because people just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I say, well, come out. So I call my crews, but they'll go out and they'll check the manholes in front of the street to make sure. We have like usually 8-inch line in front of the street that they tie into, like their laterals. So we'll go out and check our manholes and make sure they're okay.
Okay.
And if they're good, well, then we'll go into the house. We'll talk to the people, say, hey, it's your line. You get it cleaned. We'll maybe give them some phone numbers of people we kind of know that are reputable that could come and help them out.
Yep.
But if it's our line, then we have a huge Vector jetter. We come out, we'll jet the line and take care of it that way. So
Okay. And I'm guessing most times we do get backups in our lines, and you have a regular maintenance program, but I think a lot of times when you hear from residents, it's that lateral from the main to the house that needs to be cleaned.
We get a backup once in a while, but
Yeah.
that's why our program books help us. We check every single manhole in the city every year.
Yeah.
And we jet about 80, 90 miles a year. A lot of people don't realize that. So we clean all the sewers. If there is a sewer backup, we show them all of our reports. And usually all the people say, wow, this is, the people would try and maybe sue us. They say, we can't touch them because they've done everything right and they've done more than even other cities do. So that makes me feel really good.
If we maintain our system.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't hear about that often. So water, now that's pressurized.
Yes.
So, unlike sewer flowing by gravity, water's pressurized. So sometimes, there are pops and breaks. And so have you dealt with many of those?
Unfortunately, yes.
It happens.
And like I said, it never happens when it's 80 degrees out and sunny in a road that's not less traveled.
Is there a big one that comes to mind?
One of the big ones I thought of, I knew I was going to be talking to you, and I figured you'd ask this question, and was in the wintertime, and someone said, we think you got a leak up there on Flying Cloud Drive by the Eden Prairie Center. So I drove my truck up there, must have been 11 o'clock, and as I drove up Technology to Flying Cloud Drive, this major intersection, lots of cars, lots of traffic going to the mall. The water's coming 10 feet out of the ground. Their whole road is lifted up 4 or 5 feet like a big bubble from all the pressure. It was a 16-inch water main that broke. And so I drove up oh, my God, this is the biggest one I've ever been on. And what am I going to do? So I'm look at it for a while. I took a couple breaths.
Looked at it for a while, wanted to get in your truck and leave town.
Yeah, I wanted just to say I'm going to go home, man. So I called my staff. They all came out, and we had to close down the road for a week. And called Randy Newton. I think he's from engineering. He had to call. It was because on a state road, county road, city road. Yeah. We had to get a bypass and reroute people and get a big crew in to help fix it. And it was a big deal, but it all went well. But it was a big deal. So you're scared about it, but when you're all done, it's whew, we did it. It makes you feel good. So
it's before my time because you rerouted traffic. Would you say off of Flying Cloud and away from Flying Cloud? What, between Pioneer Trail and Prairie Center? You're talking about?
We went up around Technology and went up
further.
Farther that way. Yeah.
All right.
It was crazy. It was just
that's a busy area.
Very busy. It was we had to get it fixed. We had to come in the next day and a couple of days and blacktop it, and we had to have 8 inches of blacktop put in because it's a big heavy duty road. And,
I mean, in my time, I remember there. I mean, and this wasn't in the a major disruption to traffic, but I remember by the water plant in MTS, there was a leak there that we were looking for a couple years, and we've had issues off of 212 as you get.
We still haven't found that one.
Oh, gee, okay.
Right. We don't know.
No.
It's we've been scratching our heads for years. We don't know what it's from. We really don't. We don't know if it's coming from the water treatment plant. We tested everything there. We tested all the tanks. We had come in and televised. We shut them down.
But you get the freezing on the ramp down onto the highway from down. But we haven't had that problem.
We put some drain tile in.
Okay. All right. So you
buy us
haven't
some
quite
time.
figured out where it's coming from, but you've kind of found a way to drain it.
Yeah, we found a way to kind of buy us some time. We're still peeking around, and they have equipment that comes in. You can put on different hydrants.
Okay.
And you can sound it in between, and it tells you where the leak is. If it's 20 feet this way or 40 feet that way. whenever we have a leak, we call up this company called Leak Detection, and they help us find the leak. Because you want to, the water, wherever the leak is, not where the water comes up, it could be somewhere else.
Okay.
So you don't want to dig in the wrong place. And then especially if it's got 4 feet of frost in the wintertime.
So then we've talked water mains, we've talked sanitary sewer, and now how about a little bit about storm sewer? Because you said, we're getting more rain, it's getting wetter, so some of our ponds get pretty full. Sometimes our roads flood. You have to do a lot of cleaning, as you talked about, of catch basins. So that's a ton of what we've been doing lately. It's a lot of more work we've had.
That's why we got that extra. I was trying to get some extra people for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So Robert finally helped me. He was the public works director. He said, we got to, we were always doing the water in the sanitary, and the storm was kind of like just fix it when it had a problem.
Yeah.
And I said, we got to start kind of doing more look ahead of it and fix it before it turns into a problem. So we finally got another guy, and we started a stormwater crew. So that's all they do right now is fix storm pipes that have popped and broke, and we put drain tile in the roads now. So we invented the the sludge box vacuum.
We're talking about that. The award-winning, John, from your crew, the award-winning vacuum dredge box. So tell us about that. What is that invention?
This came from Gene Dietz years ago was the old public works director. He said, John, we got to figure out a way to take care of this problem. So what the problem was, as the storm pipe flared in, exits out to like a pond, you get a lot of sand or debris would kind of, over the years, kind of create a little sand dune or sand pile right by that outlet. And it looked bad. And so it wasn't a big deal, but we had a lot of people starting to move into the city, and older neighborhoods, people would move out, the new neighbors would move in, the young people go, hey, I don't like that back there. Yeah. So we're trying to find a way to take care of that. So we came up, the guys with all my staff kind of brainstormed. We tried a couple different things before we got to this vacuum dredge box. But what it is, it's a box we can bring back in between the houses, and we hook up our Vactor, which is a big, like a vac truck. It'll suck up bowling balls if you wanted to. So we have 300 feet of hose we run back there. We hooked it up, and we walk back with some special mats, our excavator, so we don't wreck the yards. And then he scoops the sand out of the pond, puts it in the dredge box, and it sucks it up maybe 200-300 feet to the Vactor. And so we're all done. The guy's yard is not ruined. We get all the sand out of there. So everybody's happy.
Yeah. No, I've seen that in action, and I say award-winning because that was kind of something that you and the crew came up with, to be able to do that work without damaging property or having to restore it after you damage it. And then I think it was submitted for some kind of state award, and you guys won an award for
Robert
for a service for like a good innovative way for service delivery.
Yes, we won. Many cities put different things in, and we won.
Yeah.
And so then they came out and they sent us a special film crew for like 2 days. They came out and filmed this 5 or 6 minute thing on the vacuum dredge box, and my guys got to talk about what they did, and it was a pretty cool thing. They gave us $5,000. So we put that in towards pizza. No, not really. We put that in towards buying some more welding equipment.
Yeah.
And the guys, we all got our pictures and stuff. And it was guys were pretty happy about that.
And I think this idea that there's a lot of regular work that has to be done on a daily basis, but we've got people, thinking about interesting and different ways to do stuff, and you're open to ideas. You're open to new ways of doing things.
It happens all the time. It's just funny. We got an award for stuff that the guys do all the time. They invent little tools and things and make our life easy all the time. So it's a good environment we have down there, and I really enjoy it. See them come up with stuff,
Yeah, well, when you kind of look back on your career here since '83, is there any other kind of projects or anything that jumps out at you that we haven't mentioned in that period of time?
You talk about the flood?
Well, what flood is that? Which flood is that, John?
Well, there was a couple, but in my early days, we had a flood of, it was in the late 80s, I think, 87, 88.
I think the big flood of 87 you're talking about.
Yeah, we had 28 inches of rain in 2 days. We were a pretty small crew, just me and Big Don and Jim, and I think Andrew at that time, and Anderson Lakes Parkway and Preserve Boulevard had like 6 feet of water on it, totally flooded. We had lots of...
Say that, not 6 inches.
6 feet.
6 feet.
Yeah, it was flooded big time. Houses were being flooded. I was on call that night, so I was living on Paulson Drive by the high school. So I jump in my truck. So I'm my pager's going off, and like all these lift stations are calling me like they're flooding out. So jump in my truck. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I started driving down Valley View, and down by the high school where the walk bridge is, there was probably 8 feet of water there. I couldn't even get out of my neighborhood. So I had to drive back and wait till the sun came up so I could kind of find a way out of my neighborhood to kind of get into the city and try to help do stuff. So the one thing I remember was where it was flooded by Anderson Lakes. No one could figure out why it was flooding so bad and why the water wasn't going. So Andrew and me kept retracking our routes. You kind of keep following pipes, open up catch basins and see if something's blocking it. And we found one pipe that had a piece of plywood over it. And we pulled that up. We barely got it up, and then the whole thing drained in 2 days.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
Because a lot of it would be there's nothing, so a lot of cities design projects and roads for what they call 100-year storms or 500-year storms, which they say is, for one event every 100 years or once every 10 years if it's a 10-year storm. And that was once every 1,000-year storm. And there's kind of nothing you can do except wait, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually stuff's supposed to drain. Mm-hmm. But in this case, then if stuff gets plugged up, then you're really in trouble.
Well, yeah, you're wondering why isn't it draining? Everything takes time. All the things has to drain down from pond to pond to pond to the river. We knew something was not right, but we just didn't know where. There was so much water you couldn't even walk around to find it
in a short period of time.
No, we were in waders and didn't know where are we going, So
yeah, well, I mean, we talked about this being one of the wettest years in a while, but that's just many, many little storms. I mean, I don't think we had anything huge this year.
Nothing
just
big, but you get those 3 and 4 inch rains. It causes a lot of flooding, damages. We get a lot of phone calls. People say their backyards are flooded and they don't know why. I'm like, well, we just got 4 inches of rain.
Yeah.
It's normal. It'll go away, and I'll give it a couple days. So
yeah, which again, I think like we talked about the sewer backups, you get those calls too, right?
Yeah,
you find yourself, and a lot of times there's private drainage issues between properties too. And I think you guys, as a city, it might be on private property again, but you'll go out and kind of investigate this.
Yeah, everything that comes in, we kind of go out and look at.
Okay.
And because we just don't know what it is. So we can't just say it's not ours, but we'll go out and, is it ours? Is it public? Is it private? No, if it's not, what can we do about it? Can we help you with something? Can we direct you? Like you need to do some more maybe landscaping or put gutters on your house to kind of help you out. So Randy Slick in engineering helps us out a lot with that. He gets a lot of those calls too. If I say, Randy, you better go talk to this guy because I can't help him. I need some more help. He's an engineer.
Yeah.
He's really good about grade and things like that, so he can talk to those guys.
No, we do have some folks in engineering that do a lot with storm. Well, you talked about us hiring a few more people in the last 5 years for the outside utility stuff. We've also had to hire a civil engineer that focuses on stormwater solely. And we didn't have that 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
There's just so much good. And there's a lot of rules and a lot of regulations now, too. It's not just rain events. It's a lot more rules and regulations.
Yeah. I was trying to do this myself, and I'm not an engineer by no means.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do this myself with my guys, and some of these issues were just a lot bigger than we could do. And so when Robert came on board, Public Works Director, I said, Robert, we need some help, and we need some engineers. So he got on board and got us an engineer, and Patrick now helps us out just for us.
Yes.
Well, he does lots of other stuff, but if I need help,
it's mainly that.
Yeah, I go to him, and he's phenomenal. He's been here about a year now.
Yeah.
And before him was Dave, and they're like heroes for us. They had saved us and kind of got us on the right track where we're going. They get all the permits now for us. So
I think Dave before him was our first dedicated engineer. Yeah, you're exactly right. So you personally, John, let's talk about you personally. You are from the area.
Yes.
You are kind of I don't know if you're born in EP or around EP.
I was born in Cleveland,
Ohio,
and then we moved to Syracuse, New York, where my dad was from and my mom.
Okay.
And then we moved here in '61.
Okay. How old were you?
Probably 5.
5 years. Okay. So all you pretty much remember is
Eden
here.
Prairie, pretty much,
yeah. To Eden Prairie when you were 5.
Yes, in '61. So yeah.
So yeah, you just obviously 20 years before you started working for the city, you grew up here. So what was it like being a kid here?
It was pretty cool. You'd kind of go out in the morning, and you wouldn't come home. You eat some dinner, and wouldn't come home until it got dark. And then your mom would say, "Hey, get in the house," and you pretty much cut you loose all day. You never see that today, you know.
No.
But my first job, we used to pick berries at Pika's over off of down by Birch Island, and we'd go and you'd pick raspberries all day. And we were pretty little. The other guys would pick more because they're older, but we'd pick and you get like 7 cents a pint, and you'd. At the end of the season, you get like $21, and we'd ride our bikes up to Glen Lake and burn it all at the Dairy Queen. It was just like we get sick and everything. That was kind of fun. But
get sick.
That was our first job, and I worked at not the Nesbitt's farm, Todashek's had a farm off of Duck Lake and Duck Lake Trail, big farm there. So I worked for them at their farm, and worked them a couple of years, and then the only store in town was a Little Red, which is the Holiday now by Valley View.
Yeah.
And the girl I went to school with, her parents owned it. That was the only little store in town.
Okay.
So there wasn't.
So she was like about your age.
She was my age, exactly.
Yeah. I forget their last name.
I don't remember. She was blonde. There were started with an H. She was cute. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Never dated me. I asked, but it didn't work out. But,
it's all right.
Dave Lindahl, he grew up with us here too.
Yeah,
you know Dave Lindahl.
Dave's been on. We had Dave on.
That's right.
Dave did an episode. He talked a lot about girls too in his episode.
Yeah, I could tell a real truth later about that probably. But
okay, all right. We'll do like a truth test.
It was Dave. Thinking about Dave, we had it's called a teen center up at Round Lake.
Yeah,
it was the old. They used to have a shotgun gun club up there.
Okay,
and so that kind of went by the way because he was getting bigger. So they had the old clubhouse. We turned into a teen center. And so on weekends, we'd go up there and they have little bands or just goof around, hang out, try to keep the kids out of trouble.
They still do that.
And so Dave Lindahl, I remember, he was a year younger than me. He had a little band. And one night, he played almost every weekend. We only knew like 4 songs, and it was just hilarious. And Indigata Davida was his favorite. He listened to that like 25 times every single night.
Well, you only have 4 songs. You keep playing the same 4 songs.
Yeah.
He told a little bit of a different story. I play all classic rock, 60s and 70s.
No. That's not what I remember.
You got to start somewhere. Well, you were there.
Yeah,
I wasn't there.
No, I was there.
I believe you.
Yeah, I was there.
But he still plays now.
Yeah.
So
he plays probably a couple. He probably plays 7 or 8 now.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that was some of the fun stuff we did there.
Well, and you, but you never really got in much trouble here when you were a kid. Then,
I'm not going to go down that road too much, but I had a couple stories. It's kind of funny. I work at the water plant now, and back when I was about 17, there was a big party up on where Lookout is on 169. Lookout, they're going to remodel all that now.
Yeah.
Well, there was a party up there and beer and stuff, and all of a sudden the house got surrounded by I think Edina, Eden Prairie, Bloomington. It was like 6 cities surrounded the house with cops. There was like 200 kids. They brought us all down to the Eden Prairie Treatment Center, which was back then was kind of like the treatment center / police. So back then the parents all come and picked us up. It was pretty embarrassing, and it's kind of funny. I was in jail where I work now.
Yeah, the treatment plant was the jail for the kids at that party. At that time, now you work there.
So every time I go in that big paint room, I go, yep, I remember sitting in here for an hour or two waiting for my dad to pick me up.
While you're down there.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, now you're back there.
Yeah.
So what's something, John, that you've done, something you've done that maybe most people haven't done, something about you that people might not know that you've done? Aside from being in the water plant.
In the jail?
Before it was a water plant.
I don't know. It's kind of a funny story. My kids came home. They're in their 30s now, and they came home. They're in first grade. My son Steve, my oldest, and his neighbor, and they had a little flyer from school. Hey, we're going to join wrestling. I go, that sounds good to me. I had first kids, you know.
Like school?
Yes.
Well, you said first grade.
Yeah, first grade, like a wrestling club.
Yeah.
So I thought, it sure beats. I've heard horror stories about hockey and spending thousands of dollars. I'm a young parent. So I go, that sounds good. Wrestling's buy some shoes every year.
Yeah.
So they started, and I kind of hung out, and they made me kind of hang out and be part of the coach because it was like herding cats. These little first graders running around. So I started coaching those kids and helping out. Then they made me the president of the wrestling club.
The president of the
wrestling club. I'm like, wow. And everybody said, where'd you wrestle, John? I said, I've never wrestled a day in my life.
Never.
So it was, I think I was a good organizer.
You were the president of the club, and now that club is growing, and there's
it's growing. It's awesome. It's going good. So that's kind of funny. I never wrestled a day in my life, and here I was president of the wrestling club.
There you go. Do you ever watch wrestling?
We used to go watch it all the time.
Yeah.
We used to go down and watch the U.
Yeah.
When my kids were little, we'd take them down, but I don't go down there much. I had much of it then, I'm kind of done.
Well, I meant more, there's that wrestling, but then there's probably the wrestling that, the AWA was out of Minnesota in the 60s and the 70s. I mean, I grew up as a kid watching wrestling at my grandpa's house all the time before that WWE, WWF stuff came along.
Some of those guys lived in town here, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell and the other guy. We knew where they lived over there on southeast part of town.
Well, yeah. Well, and then I met the Sheik. If you remember the Sheik, Adonai El Casey, he's from Minnetonka. He actually was pretty active in the Hopkins Lions Club, so I knew him there. Okay. And then Rock and Roll Buck Zumoff was also active in that group. So you're right. A lot of them were around kind of the west. Well, the Gagnes.
Gagne, that was a Greg Gagne.
Vern and Greg Gagne.
Yes, I knew where Greg Gagne lived.
Minnetonka area. So that's all.
It's kind of fun to see those guys drive around. I know that guy. Yeah.
Well, I thought as the president of the wrestling club, you may have connected in with these people.
I never did.
Okay, fair enough. All right, John. So you're on a desert island, and you can only bring 3 things. What are you going to bring with you?
Oh, I think I was warned about this one from someone I know.
Well, I've said this. I've done this a few times. I've done this 7, 8 times. Yeah.
So bring 3 things. I can bring 3 things?
Yeah.
I would bring a martinis.
Okay, good.
I bring my girlfriend, Julie, and a box of ribeye steaks.
I like that. Because, people do I bring a boat, or I would bring... Oh. Yeah, but you're just I'm here... I'm stuck.
I'm going to enjoy myself.
We're going to have a good time.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, last couple things, what would be maybe something that you're most thankful for? Something you're most appreciative of?
Don't make me cry. I think having a job you come to every day that you enjoy.
That's good.
My kids... Just friends.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. You're obviously passionate about your work and your family and your friends. So, no, you've been here for quite a long time, John, and we want you to
retire soon.
Yes. Not retire soon. No, retire from here, but not soon. But no.
No, that's it, man. I don't think many people can say that they really get up in the morning and go to work and feel good about it.
Yeah.
I don't get micromanaged. I can pretty much run my crews. I can improve on things. I can help my guys out. I feel good about what we're doing. I feel good about what we're helping the people in the city. And it's just because I have a good job and I like it, everything else flows from it. You're getting paid. I have a nice house and kids and family. So because of that, just kind of makes everything okay.
Yeah. No, that's good as long as we don't have any 24 inches of water in a day and a half, or
then I'm going to retire.
A 16-inch water main bursting around the Eden Prairie Mall. But no, those things happen, and we're ready for them when they do happen. But no, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit about our utilities division, the people that you lead, and a little bit about yourself. So thanks, John.
Hey, thank you. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, kind of.
Right. Yeah,
a little bit.
It was pretty fun.
All right.
When I hear this, I'll see how I sound.
You'll sound good.
Okay.
You'll sound good.
All right.
Thank you.